Never in doubt, was it, Oxford fans? Hello everybody and welcome back to another review of an Oxford United game. Today, Oxford were at home to the gas, home to Bristol Rovers. 10 games gone in the season, 8 wins for Oxford United, 24 points. It's all going a little bit too well, isn't it? Well, who rolls into town when things are going well? That will be the old bogey side themselves, Bristol Rovers, who we have a terrible record against. They usually can just bank on those 6 points against us every single season. And last season, that 3-0 win they had at the Kassam was really rock bottom for Oxford United, although in hindsight kind of did us a little bit of a favour, as it was the final game for Robinson and where Manning could come in and do what he's done. And it's a game that had a little bit of everything, not to mention bucket loads of tension and nerves. And it is the Pirates who will be wondering how they didn't get anything out of this game. But it is another win for Oxford United. Oxford have ended that Bristol Rovers hoodoo, but my goodness, was it a difficult game. But Oxford United have come out on the right side of it. It ended Oxford United 2, Bristol Rovers 1. And this is Oxford United's best start to the season, and that is not my research. That is thank you very much to the YouTube comment that I got on my last video, dropping that bit of knowledge. And thank you very much to Harold Carlson for also dropping me a super chat. Norwegian OUFC fan, thank you very much. Anybody else can do that. Feel free to line my pockets. I will go over the team news. I will go over the game. I will give those all important player ratings. I know that's what you all live for. And at the end, I will give my final thoughts. I'll put timestamps down below. So if you do want to jump to any point of the video, that's absolutely fine. But if you do that, the very least you can do is hit like on this video because it helps me out so much. And if you do like the content, then think about subscribing to the channel. So let's dive into that team news and let's start with Oxford United, who continued with this 3 at the back, a 3-4-3 for the Yellows. It's worked in the last 2 games, so what could possibly go wrong? So it's an unchanged side from the side that had that very, very comfortable win over Shrewsbury. Interesting to see how long Manning's going to keep with this experiment. Will it become the new normal? We will see. We've got a bit of time off now before the next game. The only difference from the squad, if you like, from that last one is Tyler Goodrum misses the game with illness. He was replaced by Osin Smyth on the bench. On to Bristol Rovers now, and the Gas themselves are in very good form, and that is despite Joey Barton a couple of games ago throwing Luke Thomas under the bus after their defeat to Peterborough. But that seemed to work. Let me know what your thoughts are on Barton for that weird rant. But yeah, Rovers bounced back really well in the last game. They hammered Port Vale by 3-0, and it is actually 3 wins from the last 4 games for the Pirates. So it is credit to Joey Barton, especially with the number of players they have out injured. They couldn't even put a full bench out there today. That front three for Bristol Rovers, though, does look very formidable for Jevani Brown, Aaron Collins and Chris Martins. The full-backs as well had excellent games in that last game against Port Vale. It's Jack Hunt and Harvey Vale, and I'm sure they're going to get forward and try and create the width and cause Oxford plenty of problems. Whilst we saw Shrewsbury come to the Kassam on Tuesday and really just be so passive, they just kind of let Oxford just steamroller them, really. I did not think Rovers would come with that attitude at all. They're much more attacking and aggressive under Barton, and yeah, we saw that early on in the game, and it was Rovers who started this game the better of the two sides. A very frantic start where we really saw the bad and the great of James Beadle. It was almost like Beadle's worst moment came, and then straight away after that, he was just brilliant and pretty much brilliant for the rest of the game. He spilt a pretty routine catch from a corner, which is very unusual for Beadle, and it left Bristol Rovers with a couple of good chances to score. They recycled it to the edge of the area. Vicious shot came in, which Beadle did really well to save, but it's the rebound where he makes a remarkable save, really. A really good reaction save from that rebound to keep it Oxford's clean sheet intact, and the third shot that came in went into the side netting. Oxford breathing a sigh of relief, and then a couple of minutes later, it was a really good chance for Martin. I don't think he had many chances in the game, but he should have done better from this one. Jack Hunt putting a good ball in, and Martin headed wide. I really think he should have done better, and Rovers with a real couple of great early chances to go 1-0 up. And a quite sloppy at times Oxford United performance, and they certainly started sloppy, struggled to get into their passing groove, but then they did take the lead from seemingly their first meaningful attack of the game. It was a fantastic finish from Billy Bodin. Bristol Rovers failed to clear a ball that came in, and Oxford run possession back on the edge of the box. It was actually lovely play by Ruben Rodriguez. Dinked a ball over the top for Billy Bodin. Bodin took it on the chest, sold the defender a dummy, and then just smashed it past Cox to give Oxford a 1-0 lead. Billy Bodin didn't celebrate that goal. I know you all hated Matty Taylor. Billy Bodin has the respect for the Gas fans. Oxford started to look a little bit more calm and a little bit more composed then, and started to look a little bit like their old selves. Harris, who had a bit of a mixed bag of an afternoon for me, he had a deflective effort that went out for a corner. But then 4 minutes later, Bristol Rovers, I'm sure a lot of Rovers fans will be criticising the referee. I'm sure a lot of Oxford fans will be asking questions of the referee as well. But this is one where they feel they should have had a penalty. Aaron Collins goes down in the box. It's one of those ones where Ruben Rodriguez has run across the back of him, and you're wondering, like, if Collins has gone down and he hasn't dived, then surely he has been fouled. But the referee didn't deem it as a foul. He didn't book Collins either. It was a nervy moment as we all sort of waited and hoped that the referee wouldn't point to the spot. I feel Oxford might have got away with one there. About 30 minutes onwards in this game, Rovers got up a real head of steam, and their first chance came from Sam Long getting caught in possession by Collins. And it was not great from Sam Long. Collins charged into the area, decent shot across goal, but Beadle, again, Oxford's hero today, got down to save it, and the rebound was cleared by Oxford as well. But Rovers was certainly getting up a head of steam and looking more dangerous. But the final ball was a little bit wayward, and a combination of wayward playing and good defending, good solid defending by Oxford, either heading the ball away or getting blocks onto passes or challenges on the edge of the box. 38 minutes on the clock, Rovers thought they had equalised, and it came from a fine move which was started by Collins and nearly finished by Collins. They got the ball out to Hunt on the right-hand side, Oxford's left. He put a lovely ball in across the goal, and Collins was there to tap it in, but he was given offside again. It was a tight call, but I think he was just off. Oxford were really struggling in this first half, and they really needed that half-time whistle. They did nearly get a goal themselves on the break. A decent effort from Mark Harris on the turn, and his first-time shot was easily saved by Cox. It was Rovers who had the last attack of the half, and Jevani Brown, who got the ball in midfield and drove forward, got to the edge of the box. Brilliant run from Brown. He got it out to Collins on the left-hand side, Oxford's right. He looked to smash it, but luckily for Oxford United, Long was able to get a little nick on it and take the pace off it, which made it an easy save for Beadle. Half time and Oxford United winning 1-0, and without a doubt fortunate to go in 1-0 at the break. It's been a tough afternoon so far for Oxford United. Nowhere near as fluent in possession and passing as we've seen in recent weeks, and playing a little bit too deep for my liking as well, almost like inviting the pressure on a little bit too much as well. When they did get the ball forward, because they were so deep, it did leave the likes of Harris and Rodriguez a little bit isolated. We didn't see much of Stevens. We didn't see much of Greg Lee going forward either. But on the plus point for United, they did defend really well, and it's a testament to how much better we are at defending our own box than what we were last season. Still that composure at like winning the second ball and not diving in and making reckless fouls, and those three centre-backs did actually make it quite difficult for Rovers to get on the end of their crosses into the box. But Jevani Brown was a real handful. Every time he got the ball, he looked strong, he looked powerful, and Aaron Collins was simply magnificent in the first half, and just a little tiny bit sloppy at that final part of the jigsaw for Bristol Rovers, but you felt Oxford needed to change things or this was never going to end 1-0. And change things they did at the start of the second half. Oxford brought on Stan Mills, a good change by Liam Manning, and it seemingly moved Oxford back into a 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 formation. A rare error for Marcus McGuane was caught in possession, and McCormick was able to get in down the left-hand side, got right into the penalty area. Good ball across goal, but Greg Lee did really well to snuff out the danger and put it behind for a corner. And then just a couple of minutes later, from another Bristol Rovers corner, Oxford on the counter-attack, really great counter-attacking move. Marcus Bergwijn plays a great ball up to Ruben Rodriguez. He's in acres of space and he gets to near the edge of the box, squares it across to the on-rushing Mark Harris, who's about 20 yards out, struck it first time, but it was a weak connection from Harris and it was very easy for Cox to save. Josh Murphy came on as well after about 55, early enough in the second half, and I thought the two changes really added an injection into this Oxford United team going forward. I thought Mills and Murphy looked really dangerous and the two subs nearly combined on 58 minutes. It was a terrible ball out from the back by the Pirates and it gave Mills a chance to drive to the edge of the box. He played it across to Murphy on the left hand side and Murphy's shot was well turned over by Cox in the Rovers goal. It was still an even game at this point, but then the game did take a big swing in Oxford's favour on 62 minutes. Jevani Brown was sent off for a second yellow card. The second one was a foul on Murphy, but I must say his first booking was incredibly harsh. It was the free kick was given against him, and it didn't seem like it was a second after the free kick was given that he chipped the ball at goal. I don't think he should have been booked for kicking the ball away. I don't think he was time wasting in that instance, and it was very bad decision by the referee, in my opinion, who was very finicky on certain little decisions today. But the second challenge, being on a book-in, was a bit rash, and he gave the referee a decision to make, and Rovers were down to 10 men. And Oxford started to turn the screw more and more then, and Rovers, I wouldn't say they were beaten, but Oxford certainly were in the ascendancy, and Josh Murphy missed a golden chance on 68 minutes. Oxford's creating more and more space as the extra man was starting to take its toll. Rodriguez again, lovely ball through, split the defence. Murphy is clean. You couldn't believe saying he's clean through doesn't do justice to how clean through he was, but his finish was terrible and it was way off target. Sign of a man who hasn't scored for 2 years. And as much as Oxford were starting to play better football, Rovers were guilty of presenting Oxford with chances, and again they played a sloppy ball out from the back. Rodriguez had a good chance, but his effort went over the bar. But then on 80 minutes, 10 minutes to go, Oxford seemingly thought they'd wrap this game up, and it came from a corner, and it was a very simple goal from a corner. Rovers will look back at this one and think not really too sure how it went in. Delivered deep to the back post. Sam Long gets his head on it. It bounces back across goal. Cox was distracted by Gatlin O'Donker's air shot in front of him. He wasn't offside, O'Donker, because there was a man on the line. But that air shot kind of just fooled everybody. And the ball just bounced in. And Sam Long scored. Get in there, Longy. Oxford 2-0 up. It felt. That was the hoodoo broken. The Rovers never gave up the ghost, and Evans had a shot from the edge of the box, which was well saved again by James Beadle, and it looked like he'd done everything to keep that clean sheet intact. But then we rolled on to the 89th minute, and then this game just cranked up the craziness. Rovers got back into it. Mills caught on the ball, playing it out of defence. I thought he was fouled, but the referee did not give a foul. I thought Mills could have quite easily just smacked that one upfield. I'm not sure why he didn't, but Rovers got the benefit of the doubt on that one. They played the ball into the box. Aaron Collins on the left-hand side just smashed it over the top of Beadle, and Rovers were back in this game with 8 minutes of injury time, seemingly from out of nowhere. Rovers had a lifeline, and I must say, Aaron Collins deserved that goal. More and more crazy stuff happened in injury time, and this all came about from Oxford just being a little bit lazy when they did go 2-0 up. They could have easily shut this game out. There was a deflected shot from Cam Brannigan on the 92nd minute, which went over the bar, and then 2 minutes after that, Osin Smyth, on as a sub, not on for long, gets sent off for picking up 2 bookings in a really short space of time. Both of them pretty avoidable bookings. The first one maybe a touch harsh for delaying the game. Second one kicking the ball away, completely needless. Manning was not too impressed. And from an Oxford United point of view, it became a watch the game from behind your eyes or behind the sofa in this really, really nervy end to the game. And what's got worse is Stan Mills then got sent off 95, 96 minutes on the clock. Maybe it was past the 98 because we went on to like 100 minutes because of all the added on time in injury time. But yeah, so it's Mills going for a ball with Finlay. It looked like I don't know. I haven't seen it back, but I didn't think it was too rash of a challenge for Mills. I don't think it deserved a red card. I think it was slightly harsh to get sent off for that one. It probably won't get overturned because they'll probably say go with what the referee and linesman's decision was. So that means Mills is out for 3 games, which is harsh. And you could have even sent Finlay off for his reaction when he pushed Mills in the face. But so Oxford ended the game with 9 men. Second time this season we've ended the game with 9 men. And for all the discipline, it's absolutely bonkers that has happened twice now in such a short space of time. And there was time for Rovers to have chances, and the most closest they came was Sinclair, who got into the box, and his shot once again forced the remarkable James Beadle into another fine save, which went out from a corner. A couple of minutes later, Evans had another chance, and luckily for Oxford United, he smashed it into the car park. Gatlin O'Donkor doing his wonderful special teams work up in the corner to keep that ball away from the Oxford United goal. And finally, the referee blew the full-time whistle, and Oxford United win the game 2-1. But my goodness, it was a struggle. What a battle, but it ended with a great win for Oxford. Credit to you Rovers though, credit to Rovers fans as well. They always travel in great numbers to the Kassam, and they've seen their side put in a superb performance once again, and very unlucky to get that defeat. But I'll go into more of that in my final thoughts because it's time for those player ratings. These ones are going to be really tough because I don't think Oxford played that great in this game, but they got the win. But not going to be tough to give this man a high grade because James Beadle gets a 9. My goodness, what a good game for James Beadle. Some great shot stopping, made a mistake very early on in the game, but after that he made a number of good saves to keep Oxford United ahead in this game. What a great signing he looks to be. James, just unlucky not to get another clean sheet. James Beadle gets a 9. Sam Long gets a 7. I would have given him a 6. I think he looked a weak link in this side. Every time Bristol Rovers attacked down that left-hand side, they looked like they were getting in. Long, he's never going to give up, and he did make some good blocks. And, of course, he did get that second goal, and it's fantastic that Long did get on the score sheet. I just wonder whether it is going to be, whether we could do better than have Long in the back line. But it's a problem that doesn't need to be addressed for a couple of weeks now. But Long, match winner in the end, gets a 7. Kieran Brown gets an 8. I thought he was magnificent today, and I thought there were no problems coming down really his side. And I thought he won so many good headers in the air, so many good tackles, and so many good clearances from when balls were coming in from that right-hand side. He gets an 8, as does Elliot Moore, who once again had another commanding performance at the back. Got booked early on, but there was no danger of him losing his composure because everything he just did was very measured from that point on, and marshalled that defence really well, and once again is on the winning side, and once again gets a good grade, gets an 8 out of 10. Greg Lee gets a 7. I thought his second half performance was excellent. I thought his first half performance was a little bit poor and a little bit quiet, and I thought even defensively he didn't look that great, but he's still, has got a very good engine. He's such a great athlete, and in that second half you really saw him get up and down that left hand side and start to cause problems going forward, as well as getting back and doing a good defensive job. So Greg Lee gets a 7. Finn Stevens gets a 6. Again, I thought he really struggled down that right-hand side. Both him and Long struggled with Collins. They struggled with McCormack. They struggled with Vale down in that area. And, difficult afternoon. Not really a shock to see him taken off at halftime. He gets a 6 out of 10. Marcus McGuane gets a 7. Another very tidy performance in there. Actually, no, scrap that. Marcus McGuane gets an 8 out of 10. I think he did make a couple of mistakes in this game, but still, what can you say? He still remains first class player in that midfield, and so many times he got on, when he was the one player I think who got on the ball and was playing on the half turn and trying to get out and trying to drive the ball forward and get Oxford up the pitch. I thought some of his passing was excellent today, set up a brilliant counter-attack for Oxford in the second half, and still goes without question that his defensive side of the game was really good. He gets an 8 out of 10, and as does Cameron Brannigan. He gets an 8 in there as well. Worked his socks off. 250 games for Branners. Let's not forget what a great servant he's been for the club. But yeah, his work rate was superb, and I thought his passing was pretty good in that second half. And again, the defensive contributions that McGuane and what Brannigan do help a heck of a lot, and the reason why we haven't conceded not so much goals, but even goal scoring chances throughout the season. And Ruben Rodriguez gets an 8 as well. Again, a fantastic performance from Rodriguez. I thought that he did everything he could other than score a goal today to get Oxford on the winning side. I thought his passing was really good. His touching, his general touch on the ball is pretty class, and is a class assist for the first goal. He brilliant ball through for Murphy, which should have got Oxford 2-0 up, and generally again work rate, effort, fantastic. 8 out of 10. Billy Bodin gets a 7. He's another goal scorer that doesn't get a higher grade than some of the guys that didn't score. And yeah, brilliant first goal from Bodin. I'll try and find another word other than brilliant. Fantastic, excellent, extraordinary first goal from Billy Bodin. Very composed, finished from him. But didn't do a huge amount in the game. I thought Oxford struggled going forward in the first half. So not surprising that it was a bit of an off day for Bodin, other than scoring, obviously, and he came off just before the hour mark, but he gets a 7 out of 10. Harris came off after 70 minutes, and I'm going to give him a 6. I just thought he was a little bit off the pace today, and I thought there was a couple of times where his finishing was a little bit lackluster. Again, work rate was good. He's always that threat getting the ball in behind. I just don't think he was quite on it today, and he gets a 6. Now we move on to the substitutes, and this is a weird one because Stan Mills got sent off late in the game, but he gets a 7. I thought he made a massive difference when he came on, and his pace down that right-hand side pushed Rovers back, and it was just a very dangerous outlet for Oxford United when he came on. It just lacked a little bit of composure in that final third, but I thought that the fact that he really changed the game in a way into Oxford's favour in that second half. We were a lot more threatening in the second half, and Mills gets a 7. Josh Murphy gets a 7 as well. Again, a very good substitution from Manning, and someone that helped tilt the balance in our favour as well. Looked like he had the beating of the fullback every time he got the ball. He just looks so graceful when he gets forward. It's weird that he just can't put the final piece of the jigsaw on it, because he could have scored today, he could have set up a goal today, and it's just that final ball or the final touch that he overruns just isn't there. But he's looking mentally sharp, and he's looking sharp in his skill level and his pace and his energy. And if we're not getting Murphy from the start, we know when we do get him, he is a guy that's got the potential to change games. And I think he did again today, and he gets a 7. Gatlin O'Donkor comes on after 70 minutes. I'm going to give Gatlin O'Donkor a 6 out of 10. I thought he did well, and his work rate was excellent. I don't think he had too much to do. It was a fantastic air shot to let Sam Long's ball go into the back of net, although O'Donkor really could have done with a goal there. But I really appreciate the donkey work that he does. Down in the corner, winning free kicks, winning corners, just taking the steam out of the game. That is a remarkable, as I said, almost American football special teams type work that he's doing. But I just don't think he quite had the impact in the game, and I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. I'm not going to give Osin Smyth a grade, but it would be a low one if he came on. He came on too late in the piece after 88 minutes, got sent off. Not a good day for Smyth. Liam Manning gets another 9 out of 10 from me. Oxford weren't good in the first half of this game, and Oxford weren't lucky, and a lot of it came back to that system just not quite working from, against this Bristol Rovers outfit. And Manning didn't just rest on his laurels. He didn't go on there and just say, well, see how we go, give it 10, 15 minutes. No, he went out there and he took the proactive approach. He changed the system, he changed the players, and Oxford looked a lot better in that second half. And it's credit to Manning that he's got the belief to do that. And, because, again, if it backfires, it's all on him. But Oxford were much more positive in that second half. A lot of that came down to the decisions that Liam Manning made. Another excellent managerial week in the life of Liam Manning at Oxford United, and he gets a 9 out of 10. And this is credit to Jerome Sale on Radio Oxford for bringing this point up when he talked about how Robinson was almost so keen to always go back to that tactic of 4-3-3. Yes, at time when you go back to that Ipswich game we won last season, we did 3 at the back, we won it 2-1, then we go to Wickham a few days later, it's back to 4-3-3. We play like absolute shite, and it didn't work. Manning is willing to change things and to try and get Oxford United a positive result. He isn't just stubborn to a system because he thinks that's the way Oxford should be playing. And that brings me on to my final thoughts, and start with our visitors, Bristol Rovers. And fans, if you get to this point in the video, thank you very much. And please leave a comment on your thoughts on the game. Yeah, I know you're not going to be happy with referee decisions, but just try to give me a little bit more of how you think this game went. I think you were incredibly unlucky and should have got something out of this game. Oxford were better in the second half, but I feel that you had still had some great chances and could have very easily come away with something this afternoon. I think that it was just that little bit of extra quality in the final third that wasn't there, but I thought that the likes of Brown was superb before he got sent off. I just thought Martin wasn't great up there today, but Collins, exceptional all the way through the game. And I thought that work rate of that midfield of Woods, Bogard and McCormick worked really hard in there as well. And, you know it from Joey Barton's side. They're always going to give a lot of energy and a lot of effort into the game. And they never gave up. They kept fighting all the way through. And without a doubt, this was as hard a game as we've had this season. But as always, I'd like to know your thoughts on where you think Barton got it right or wrong, and where you think Bristol Rovers are going to finish this season. Of course, you've got a horror show with the amount of injuries you've got at the moment, and surely you're going to be so much better when they come back. Is it going to be a playoff pushing year for the Gas? And that brings me to Oxford United. And Oxford United have played 11, won 9, drawn none, lost 2, 27 points. And we're top of the league. Obviously, probably not by the time you read this if Portsmouth get a win today. But we're in an amazing position and we've had an amazing start to the season. This side is... Not only are they just like a side that can go out and maintain possession and blow a side away and create lots of chances and look really good playing their football, they're a side that can dig in and they're a side that can fight. And we certainly needed that today. We needed different strings to our bow. We needed Beadle today and he stood up to be counted. We needed that back four and midfield to stand strong, particularly in that first half and at the end of the game. And they did. And I think that we have shown how dangerous we can be and when we can change a game and how versatile we can be in a number of different areas. It didn't quite work in the first half, so you change it about a bit and all of a sudden we look quite dangerous in the second half. It might be a flip side and a reverse the next time that we play. And as much as this was a tough win, you imagine that we'll get way more confidence from a win like this than where we've had to fight and roll our sleeves up and really do a lot of dirty work than we would from a game against Shrewsbury where we've kind of just come out and just they haven't even really tried. So all signs are positive and all signs are good. But above all else, I think Oxford will be quite glad to have a little bit of a rest now and just a little bit of a break to compose everything down a little bit, calm things down. There's quite a few games in a short space of time. I just think that maybe there's a couple of things that Manning wants to work on in terms of there's a couple of sides we've played recently where we've really just not controlled the game for large periods, like Bristol Rovers and like Exeter, and how we can kind of address the balance on that a little bit. Still a little bit worried that we're not creating enough chances for Harris. And I'd like to see Oxford try and do that a little bit more. But generally, how can you complain? How can you complain about anything that this Oxford United side are doing at the moment? It's a wonderful start to the season. A great time to be an Oxford United fan. So enjoy it, Oxford fans. I don't even know who we're playing in the next game. I'm too lazy to look it up, but it's not for a week. So I might be back to do some sort of random League One video in the time that we have, just to keep those YouTube monies coming in, baby. But that's just it for me. Thank you very much. Please hit that like button, hit subscribe, and above all else, enjoy it. And I'll be back very soon.